In less than 24 hours, more than 30 armored vehicles were neutralized in coordinated attacks. Can you imagine the sound of a tank being hit with surgical precision by an invisible missile? Every movement was planned, every second monitored. What you're about to see has hardly appeared in the news. An unexpected strategic maneuver, a miscalculation, and an entirely unpredictable ending. But what really happened behind this decisive operation? If you want to understand the outcome of this story, stay until the end. What comes next will change your view on this war. What you are about to see contains real war footage. It is presented strictly for documentary purposes. We do not encourage violence. Recommended for 18+. In this documentary, we will see vehicles and armored units being hit by mines, Javelin missiles, and FPV drones. In the following footage, more than 100 armored vehicles are mobilized by enemy forces to attack Ukrainian positions from several directions simultaneously. Ukrainian soldiers begin using cluster munitions, which hit the armored vehicle. Still, a Russian armored vehicle moves forward to carry out reconnaissance. Ukrainian artillery begins firing with great precision. A tank tries to avoid the wreckage, but ends up triggering a landmine, highlighting the constant dangers on the battlefield. The next formation advances directly into a mined area. However, an explosion halts the tank's progress, reflecting the tactical risks soldiers face daily in military operations. Ukrainian soldiers begin using HIMARS systems, a strategic response in the heart of the combat zone. The front line is reached by enemy armored vehicles, and at the forefront, a tank equipped with a mine-clearing plow attempts to clear the way. A disabled armored vehicle blocks the passage, creating a logistical bottleneck. An armored vehicle attempts to maneuver, but triggers a mine. The Ukrainian armed forces are positioned here. Ukrainian artillery continues to bombard the enemy forces that have been halted, and the precise strikes cause significant losses, moments that have been widely recorded by military drones on surveillance and attack missions. The cluster munitions efficiently neutralize the stationary threats. At this stage, the Russians have already lost dozens of tanks and armored vehicles in this offensive, a typical scenario of intense military operations. An FPV drone performs visual reconnaissance and targets the tank. The armored vehicle continues to advance and is compromised by a drone. However, it also enters a mined area, ending another dramatic sequence of events in this war between Russia and Ukraine. A contingent of Russian tanks and armored vehicles advances toward an offensive, 7 in total, 3 battle tanks and 4 armored vehicles. They regroup in this small village before the assault, highlighting the complexity of a military operation in the heart of a war zone. The Ukrainian soldier positioned on the front line takes aim at a tank, activates, and fires a Javelin missile. A drone confirms the hit. A second Javelin is launched, resulting in a powerful explosion captured by aerial cameras. The third Javelin missile is activated, and the hit is precise. One armored vehicle tries to retreat, but the Ukrainian soldiers manage to strike the withdrawing enemy. Meanwhile, the last tank maneuvers and attempts to respond to the attack, but it's futile. The impact confirms it won't withstand another missile. The drone captures footage of the armored vehicles. The turret, weighing several tons, is hurled into the air, marking the end of another chapter in the intense war between Ukraine and Russia. The FGM-148. Javelin is a portable anti-tank missile system developed by the United States, widely used in modern conflicts, especially in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Since its introduction in the 1990s as a replacement for the M47 Dragon, the Javelin has transformed the battlefield, providing frontline infantry with a powerful, precise, and highly mobile weapon. Its strategic use has become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance, often featured in combat footage. The Javelin operates on a fire-and-forget principle, giving the shooter the advantage of firing the missile and immediately seeking cover. The Javelin can penetrate even the most heavily armored vehicles, including Russian tanks equipped with active reactive armor, thanks to its infrared guidance system, which ensures accuracy even under adverse frontline conditions. One of the Javelin's most lethal features is the top attack mode, in which the missile ascends before striking the target from above, an area usually less protected on tanks. The system can also operate in direct attack mode, adapting to various battlefield scenarios and target types. The column of Russian military vehicles was halted: an SUV, a truck, an MTLB, and an armored vehicle. The operator selects the first target, the SUV. Upon impact, it bursts into flames. The second drone moves toward the MTLB. The vehicle is hit. A third drone strikes the armored vehicle. The munitions stacked on top detonate in a dramatic explosion. The military operations recorded in this documentary clearly reveal the effects of the conflict. The final blow comes when a drone hits the truck. It appears that most of the weaponry was stored in it, which underscores the intensity of the fighting captured in this war zone. The MTLB is a multi-purpose armored vehicle developed by the Soviet Union in the 1960s. Although originally designed as a light artillery tractor, the MTLB quickly became an extremely versatile vehicle on the battlefield. Capable of operating in rough terrain and adverse conditions, it is used for troop transport, medical evacuation, and logistical support. During the war between Ukraine and Russia, the MTLB made a strong return to the front lines, being used by both armies. The vehicle can reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour on roads and has a range of 500 kilometers. Its light armor provides protection against small caliber weapons, while its amphibious capability, with a water speed of up to 4.5 kilometers per hour, allows it to cross rivers and flooded terrain, a crucial factor in the battlefields of the Donbass region. In addition, the MTLB can overcome vertical obstacles of nearly 1 meter, cross trenches 2.41 meters wide, and maintain excellent performance on uneven ground. It is armed with a 7.62mm PKT machine gun mounted on a rotating turret, offering basic defense against ground threats. Even after more than 50 years in service, the MTLB remains relevant in today's war scenarios. Its continued use on the front lines. The armored vehicle performs a maneuver to allow the Russian infantry to disembark and advances toward the tree line, in a scene typical of military operations in the war zone. The soldiers begin their offensive, and the armored vehicle withdraws, as seen in various combat images captured by drones on the front line. The Ukrainian shooter adjusts his aim and fires a missile, which strikes the armored vehicle, destroying it in the middle of the battlefield. In this footage, we see yet another Russian assault. A Ukrainian drone tracks and hits a Russian armored vehicle. The vehicle is immobilized in the middle of the battlefield. Another drone enters through the driver's hatch. The explosive reaches the ammunition inside. The armored vehicle is engulfed in flames. A Russian Grad system, MLRS, positions itself to launch a strike amid the conflict. Once everything is set, it fires a salvo of missiles, a typical scene in military operations in the region. This bombardment reveals the MLRS's location, and Ukrainian unmanned aircraft are immediately dispatched to the battlefield. The Russian system attempts to retreat, but a Ukrainian drone is already in pursuit. An FPV drone rapidly approaches and strikes the launcher. A violent detonation occurs instantly, reflecting the brutality of the war between Ukraine and Russia. A Ukrainian drone gradually approaches a Russian armored vehicle that was left behind, and the strike successfully hits the target. A large explosion follows. The camera moves closer to what remains of the vehicle. It has been completely destroyed. The vehicle is engulfed in flames. The next group of Russian armored vehicles. We see a grenade being thrown directly into the interior of one of them. The detonation ignites a fire. The munitions begin to explode amid the intense fighting in the region. Then, it's the turn of the vehicle beside it, a scene captured in Frontline footage that reveals the brutality of the conflict. The flames grow progressively. Everything suggests there was a large amount of explosives inside. In the heart of a conflict zone, Ukrainian forces identified a weapons depot used by opposing troops. Over several days, logistical supplies and ammunition had been stockpiled at the site. The team responsible for the launch operation inputs the coordinates into the HIMARS system. The firing command is executed with precision. The first projectile is launched, followed by a second. The effects of the strike are then monitored. The target is hit with pinpoint accuracy. In slow motion, the moment of impact can be observed with technical clarity. The second projectile strikes almost the exact same spot as the first, demonstrating the system's high level of precision. The footage is part of a record of frontline activity in modern military operations. After the impact, secondary explosions occur due to the materials present at the site. The action resulted in the neutralization of the stored resources with just 2 targeted strikes. The HIMARS, High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, is an advanced artillery system developed by the United States that has gained prominence in modern warfare, especially on the front lines of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Mounted on a 6x6 wheeled truck, the system is lightweight, highly mobile, and can be transported by aircraft such as the C-130 Hercules, allowing for rapid deployment across various regions, ideal for swift movements on the battlefield. Capable of firing GPS-guided rockets such as GMLRS, and tactical missiles like ATACMS, HIMARS can strike targets at distances exceeding 300 kilometers. In the context of the war in Ukraine, it has proven particularly effective in hitting Russian positions, including ammunition depots and command centers, often far from the front line. The system employs the shoot and scoot tactic, firing and quickly relocating, which makes detection and counterattacks difficult, especially in today's dynamic battlefield environment, constantly monitored by drones. During the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Ukrainian forces have managed to reverse disadvantageous situations on multiple fronts. The deployment of HIMARS exposed vulnerabilities in Russian artillery and helped restore balance in critical regions such as Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia, marking a new phase in the conduct of the war. Represents the evolution of modern warfare, where precision technology, tactical mobility, and integration with field intelligence define the course of conflicts. Its presence in the Ukraine-Russia war demonstrates how smart weaponry is shaping 21st century battles, turning the battlefield into a space where every shot counts and every strategic move can determine the outcome of a war. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. Prove it. Drop a like.